We are not even done talking about the tariffs that has literally been hitting us left, right, front, and center. The only thing that this orange man can do again is to start up a war with Canada. Who is the orange man advisor? Don't he have a PA? Don't he have delegates that they do sit down like a board, talk about things before he make his decision? Did he just sleep, wake up, dream about it, and they come to establish, oh yeah, well, Magas, come and see the American wonders that your choosing one is doing. Come and see your father acting. I've never seen a country that you just wake up one morning and just make a decision and it's looking like it's new to everybody. People will start. Okay, let's watch. Anyways, let's watch exactly what this video is all about. And I think I have one Canadian response as well because I think allegedly, he said that if Canadian people actually responded, that it is going to be doubled. Wow. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, like this video, drop in your comment, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other person to get this good news. And yes, with that being said, let's dive right into this honorable video. I'll be back with commentaries.
You talked about the profitability issue, the machinery playing a role in that, and fertilizer plays another role in that. A lot of that, the way I understand it, it comes in from Canada, different countries like that. What are we doing to bolster domestic fertilizer production to help make that more affordable? And then I think that will transition
Well, one
down
of
the
the things,
pipeline.
a lot of it does come in from Canada, and so we'll end up putting very severe tariffs on that if we have to, because that's the way you want to bolster here, and we can do it here. We can all do that here, but I would say what you do, you put very severe tariffs on from coming into other countries. You'll be making your own fertilizer.
In fact, Secretary Burgum, this cabinet is so remarkable. Instead of just seeing each other every month, we're literally talking every day, multiples of times a day. But our Secretary of the Interior, I, and Secretary Besson and others, we have a whole plan in place, including the reshoring of fertilizer and the opportunity to do it in America. Having said that, we've also, per the President's guidance, issued a directive. These fertilizer companies, the seed companies, the equipment companies, all of the above, as our farmers have struggled year over year, the meat packing companies continue to make, a lot of money hand over fist, a lot of foreign owned companies. So that's why the President has been very unequivocal in saying we got to figure out why all these input costs are skyrocketing and all of our farmers are struggling, which we're going to do.
So
That is a great question.
when they take like fertilizer out of the country, all of a sudden we don't do it anymore. Then they start charging and sending the very high prices from other countries, whether it's Canada or somebody else. We're not going to let that happen.
There is a very alarming possibility that tomorrow we will have no power in all of America because Canada is deciding to fight back against the bullying of Donald Trump's tariff, which he just said he will enact tomorrow, February 1st. So it turns out Donald Trump is planning to keep that deadline of February 1st for the 25% increase in tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and they will go in effect tomorrow, which is actually very bad because Canada plans on fighting back through the use of controlling the electricity of all of America. Like everything else that has been done in this administration, it could have catastrophic fucking consequences for the regular American people. And he's also threatened tariffs on China and others, arguing that the U.S. suffers from trade imbalances. Canada says it is ready for forceful, immediate response if Trump imposes those tariffs. Now, if you want to know why these tariffs would implicate Canada to even mention the U.S.'s power, it's not that they control the power to the U.S. They have two highly integrated electrical grids, and the grids make up more than 31 cross-border transmission lines that connect every Canadian province to at least one U.S. state. Meaning that the U.S. and Canada are each other's largest trading partners for electricity, and the two countries work together to balance electricity consumption and production. One of the largest being in Texas and the Eastern Intercommunication and the Western Intercommunication. Now, the Eastern and Western intercommunication extend into Canada, which operates its own AC power grid. We're an ecosystem. We basically coexist. So if President Trump presses these 25% tariffs, which would be on electricity and other goods, I don't see how this is not alarming to anyone, because they obviously said they will retaliate with fucking up the power grid. They have one line that goes to every single U.S. state. How is this smart, and how is no one upset about this?
There was also a warning that if Canada retaliates, the tariffs will increase. So there is a preemptive strike, or at least in terms of a message to the Canadian government, that if it retaliates with the targeted tariffs that it has been planning to, then the percentages will go up.
Real honest question for those of you on the right. How do you think this ends? Trump puts 25% tariffs. Canada and Mexico put 25% tariffs. Trump raises it to 50. Canada and Mexico raise it to 50. Where does it end? At what point do Canada, Mexico, and frankly the rest of South and Central America just say, fine, we're not trading with America anymore? You guys truly do not understand how global economics work. There aren't many countries that are just American only, where they get the raw product in America, they make it in America, manufacture in America, and sell it to America. That's just not how the world works. You get raw products from all over the world. You get different commodities from all over the world. You get products that are partially built in Mexico, then partially built in the United States, and then finished in Canada, and then sold all over North America. How do you think this works? I am still convinced most of you guys think the United States government owns the oil that is pumped in the United States, which, as I keep saying, pumps more oil than any other country in the world right now. But we don't own it. It is owned by multinational companies. How is this such a foreign concept to y'all?
This week, Donald Trump threatened very severe tariffs on Canadian potash. It's a kind of fertilizer. Well, I have been deputized by the entire country to provide a response. And that response is, fucking do it, bud. Do it. Do it. We're ready. We can't wait. And here's why. Food crops do not care about nationalism. They care about potassium. Potash is potassium salt. It is critically important for growing things. Without potash, crops are weak. They're prone to infestation, and they won't be able to sustain the food production needs of an entire country. Taking potash away from American farmers would put farm operations across that country into bankruptcy and reduce the food supply to dangerous levels. The kind of levels, ironically, that if it were any other country we were talking about, we would probably be supplying aid to. Why? Because the U.S. doesn't really have much of its own. Two countries won the Geological lottery for that, Russia and Canada. And we supply between 80 to 90% of what the U.S. brings in each year. Of course, Trump doesn't understand potash, and we can't expect him to. It's a two-syllable word. But somehow he believes that gouging his own farmers for the material they need to feed the country will mean that American manufacturers will step in and make it domestically. But, and I can't believe that I have to explain this to the self-professed leader of the free world, but, sir, potash is not a car. You either have it under your feet in the soil or you don't. You cannot engineer geology. And Canada, Saskatchewan actually, is sitting on the largest and purest deposit in the world, the Prairie Evaporite. Incidentally, this is why Canadians cannot write off the U.S.'s threats of annexation as bluster. We own geological treasure, aluminum, cobalt, nickel, uranium, and they want it. We know from history America's policy on things it wants is step one, take it, by force if necessary. That's it, there's never a step two. So, since his planning team isn't particularly great with that whole long-term consequences thing, let's map this out for him. Trump adds, say, a 30% surcharge on American farmers who need to buy Canadian potash. Remember, that's how tariffs work. The farmers pay that, not Canada. 95% of American farms are small and family-owned. Those farmers already operate on razor-thin margins. This would put many of them, maybe most of them, into bankruptcy. There are more than 1.6 million of those family farms in the US. If even 10% of them falter, that is enough to crash the insurance system in that market. Just ask anyone from Florida's coastline how easy it is to get home insurance these days. The larger operations, of course, would try to keep up, but even they live and die by input costs. A 40% spike on something as basic as potassium is not a haircut, it's a guillotine. They would slash planting, delay upgrades, and cut whatever staff they have left after Trump's immigration goons have taken them. And then it reaches the citizens. Lower yields means less food, higher prices at the grocery store, and even more of its people going hungry. America would be punishing its own food system and starving its own people to make a point about a mineral it doesn't even have. As for Canada, we'd be fine. Even though we supply the US with almost all its potash, we still have millions of tons more. Just last month, the Saskatchewan Potash Company announced it was building an export terminal in Washington State, no less, not to supply the US with more, but to ship to Brazil, China, India, and the dozens of other countries who never stop asking us to sell them more. So if Donald Trump wants to kneecap his own farmers to teach Canada a lesson, he should go for it. The only people who learn anything from that will be the parents staring at empty fridges and farmers holding bills they can't pay. Both wishing someone in Washington had bothered to look up where potash actually comes from.
Why are we paying more money for less groceries, less gas, less everything essentially? Donald Trump's trade war is serving us broke-ass leftovers. Trump announced that all trade discussions are off with Canada. That means right now that America officially has no trade policy with its neighbor, Canada, our biggest trade partner. We done messed all that up. And understand, y'all, this ain't just Canada. It's China, it's South Korea, it's everybody. Trump has boxed America in. Trump walked us into a trade war, strutting around thinking he could bully countries like it's the 1950s. Now he can't walk America out of this trade war because he done wrote a check with his mouth that his ass can't cash. These countries want to trade, but the key is they want fair trade. Instead of negotiating, Trump thought racism and ignorance was the business plan. And now who's paying the price? You and me. We're paying more and getting less because the president wanted to cosplay as a mob boss, and now he's getting carried by all these countries. America, it's like Whoopi said, you in trouble, girl. I'm gotta give. Aren't you tired of paying more, walking out of the store with one bag of groceries for $80? Because at this point, Trump's trade war is taking money out of our pockets and food out of the mouths of your children. Are you seeing it too? Are your groceries, gas, and bills higher and you're getting less? Drop it in the comments because I want to know if this trade mess is hitting your household too.
Donald Trump wants to put tariffs on Canadian fertilizer. I'm laughing because I used to live in like Saskatchewan at one point in Canada, and they make a ton of potash, which you need for like popular fertilizer that's used in farms and stuff like that, or in ranches or whatever. Anyhow, there's like 4, maybe 5 places on Earth that export a large amount of potash to make fertilizer. And this just proves that whoever is advising Donald Trump has no clue of what they're talking about. I feel kind of bad for the farmers of the United States because they produce food for the general population, and the general population is having a hard time right now. Lots of people in the US are using food banks, and, you know, the farmers are struggling because there's a conflict with, I think, Argentina or something. One of those, is it Argentina? I don't know. One of those countries he gave a ton of money and support to instead of giving it to American farmers. So potash is mined. You can't make it in the United States. And that's one problem that he doesn't realize, right? So I think it's Russia, China, Belarus, and Canada. I'm pretty sure those are the places that make potash. And he's not going to be doing a deal for potash to bring it all the way here from China. There's a war in Russia right now, and Belarus is a ally of Russia as well. So it's like, okay, he gets almost all of his potash to make fertilizer from Canada, and you want to put tariffs on it, which makes it more expensive for Americans, and the profit goes to Canadians. So it's just making Canadians more money. It's Americans that have to pay for the fertilizer, right? If you put a tariff on it. So it's just really strange. Hopefully he comes out and says he made a mistake, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, it's a win-win for Canada if he decides to put a tariff on the potash, because the money's just coming back to Canada, because Canada is the biggest exporter of the potash to the United States. Do you know that?
So the Wonton Don has threatened that he may put severe tariffs on Canadian potash going into the US. I know a producer who is calling this out, saying that it's going to crush US farmers with higher costs and potentially even lower yields. So potash, which is K in NPK fertilizer, is mainly sourced from two locations, Western Canada and Russia. The US imports nearly 13 million tons of Canadian potash every year. If they want to replace that, they're going to have to build new mines. New mines take a long time, as we see with the BHP Jensen project, which is not even going to become fully operational until 2027. If you skip using potash fertilizer, your yields could tank. If you use it at the tariffed cost, your costs are going to skyrocket. Overall, it's bad. Now, Trump also announced a subsidy payment to farmers. This is just a band-aid solution. You're keeping input costs high in the US while not actually expanding your potash capacity production in America. We know that when we create more expensive food with more expensive fertilizer, consumers eat the bill. In Canada, when we put a 25% import tariff on US goods like orange juice, beef, other goods, we saw an increase at the grocery store. Consumers eat the bill, not importers. Now, it would make sense if there was an American alternative to this production for Trump, but there is not. You're jacking up the price of a raw input where no alternatives exist. Sometimes I wonder if this is more of a leverage play overall. A lot of what the US needs from Canada is sourced from Alberta and Saskatchewan, so I always wonder, is there a bigger play at hand? Who knows? The bottom line is US cannot replace Canadian potash quickly at all. It takes time. And at the end of the day, if they follow through with these tariffs, the ones they're going to hurt the most are the US producers. Let me know what you guys think down below if you're a producer in either Canada or the US. Let me know your thoughts on this whole potash subsidy scenario. Hope you guys have a great day.
I have late breaking news, and wait until you hear this one. Donald Trump is at it again as he wants to place severe tariffs on fertilizer coming from out of Canada. And I mean severe. I don't know what's up with him and the American farmers, but it kind of sucks. So here we go. Let me tell you what's happening. This was during an announcement today in order to roll back environmental restrictions on farming equipment. And Trump said a lot of it does come from Canada. And if you place severe tariffs on fertilizer coming in from all the other countries, including Canada, pretty soon you will be making your own. Do you hear that, farmers? American farmers, you will be making your own. I know it's winter and the growing season is in a couple months away, but if this happens, it's no good. No good at all. We're going to be paying big money. Trickle-down effect will happen and it'll end up costing us consumers. The resource of this was Global News.
Prime Minister Mark Carney slaps Donald Trump in the face again, which in turn hurts the United States defense industry and jobs in the United States. Mark Carney said in a speech in the last day or so that Canada, up to this point, spent 75 cents of every dollar of military equipment, planes, weapons, tanks, whatever, that they bought it from the United States. 75% of every dollar they spent in the United States. He said they can't be dependent upon the United States anymore. The United States is not dependable. And they're going to be purchasing equipment from vendors, from companies and other European countries. And the United States is going to lose this money. They're going to lose these jobs. This is going to impact people's employment, people's income in the United States, thanks to Donald Trump. And Canada's not the only one that's not buying from the United States anymore. They're not going to. They're all protecting themselves because Donald Trump has burned bridges with all of our European friends and allies. And this is all going to come back in a massive karma way, in a massive FAFO. And, you know, Donald Trump personally does not care, guys. All of you MAGA, Donald Trump does not care about you. He only cares about himself and the wealthy. And many of you may work in defense industry jobs. And you are going to see the impact of this. Not going to be good. And there's going to be, you know, less money to go around, which means less jobs, less overtime, etc. for the defense industry. There you have it. Love to hear from my Canadians, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out labels. Donald Trump, can you actually do anything to generate jobs and to produce a higher standard of living in the United States besides the opposite of what you should do? Maybe you should replace those burned out light bulbs you've got. What do you all think?
You see why I said I accept with people that are calling him a dictatorship. I so much, and it is funny enough, that you still have people that are literally still supporting him and be like, yeah, that's the best thing. You should go ahead and do it. You still have people that will literally been supporting him. People that don't see anything wrong, like everything he's doing is absolutely correct. Despite the fact that this thing is affecting them more than me and you. Despite the fact that this thing is whooping their ass. This man started with the tariffs of imputing tariffs that was actually affecting a lot of immigrants, a lot of Mexicans, a lot of immigrants that was actually doing the job, the farm work. And his farmers came up to cry, begged, even solicited for funds. But till today, and I'm happy for them that they are crying, they are wailing, they are begging. I'm so happy for them, so I don't have any sympathy for them. But till today, I don't think there was a response given to them as regards to soliciting for funds, if the funds is being given to them or not. Coming to the biggest Thanksgiving, this man cuts down the whole SNAP benefit and so on and so forth. Now the DEI is just a whole lot that this man has literally been dealing with people that actually put him in. Because one thing with Black Americans that I love so much is that they prepare themselves ahead of time. So if you check, I'm not saying that Black Americans are not also having some feel of it. Yes, they are. But I'm happy that 70% of them are doing better. So they are ready. They've gotten to that stage whereby they will tell you that no matter how you want to turn the country, we are still going to survive. And that's the joy of being Black. That is literally the joy of being Black. And now this man woke up and impute tariffs again on Canada, on fertilizers that is making the crops to grow. A lot of countries have withdrawn. China stopped buying soya milk and soya beans as of 3 months ago. I don't know if they've resumed. I don't think they've resumed because the tariffs is high. The tariffs is high. And now you're setting this diaspora war, trade war. How do you expect your people to cope? How do you expect your people to survive? Sir Orange Man. I will still say this, in another way, I love what this Orange Man is doing, right? I love that these black folks, these white folks that actually voted him into the system are going to get their acts whooped and they will learn the hard way. I love the fact that they are literally learning the hard way because this man has taught them what is called perseverance. A lot of them cannot feed anymore, but I'm so happy for them. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do it, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, I'd like to say in my videos, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah. Black people will survive. That's facts. That's one thing I know for sure.